Today on Commander Replay, we test out some new cards with the Dragon in back-to-back games. Let's find out if our new cards work the way we want them to. Next on Commander Replay.
Hello everyone, welcome back. Playing the Dragon today, and today I'm going to test out some new tech with the Dragon. Some cards I've been wanting to test out for quite a while, so that's what we're going to be doing today. This is an experimental deck that's still in testing, so I wouldn't call this deck a finished product. My goal right here is to try out a bunch of new cards that I've been looking at using with the Dragon, just to see how they play in the deck, and then, whichever ones I like, I'll adopt into my more final version of the Dragon. What I've actually done right here, I've broken out all the cards by function in the deck. Right here we see the land pile, nothing too crazy going on there. This is the mana ramp pile. You'll see 13 cards devoted to mana ramp. I probably would like to get this down lower, actually. For some reason when I built my Dragon decks, I've had like 15 or more pieces of ramp in the deck, which is probably just a little bit too much because that means that there's no room for other things in your deck like removal. Herald's Horn I'm kind of on the fence about. I'm not really sure. I need to see it more to see if it's really worth using in this deck or not. So that's one thing we'll try to keep an eye on. This next column is our tutors. Originally I had Sarkhan's Triumph in here, but I cut that just to get down under 100 cards. I know it's a very reasonable card, but it's not necessarily an overpowering card. So again, that's something that I would probably add back into the final version of the deck. This next pile was just kind of miscellaneous stuff. We have Dragon Tempest to give our dragons haste, and we can actually do some damage with it too, since this is a dragon deck. We have Lightning Greaves for haste and protection, and we have Phyrexian Reclamation to get creatures back from our graveyard to our hand. The next pile is the protection pile in Teferi's Protection and Heroic Intervention. Easy ways to protect our creatures, which is really important when you're playing creatures that have a high converted mana cost. You really don't want your stuff getting blown up when you're paying 5, 6, 7 mana to get your dragons into play. The next pile, and this is why I call this an experimental deck, the next pile is the removal pile, which has gotten significantly smaller from my original version of the Dragon. And to get all of the new cards into the deck that I wanted to try out, I had to cut from somewhere, so I cut from the removal pile. Because of that, I wouldn't necessarily put this deck together and run this deck out exactly as it is. You're definitely going to want more removal than what I have in here. Currently, we have 4 board wipes and a soft 5th one with Cyclonic Rift, and then a Swords to Plowshares for creature spot removal. Next up is the card draw pile. Kindred Discovery is actually a card that I haven't played with, that I probably really should have before now, but it's something that I'd like to try out. Seems like pretty good card draw. Phyrexian Arena, good card draw. Temur Ascendancy, card draw and haste for our creatures. So very good card in this deck. Sylvan Library, very good card draw, and Rishkar's Expertise, also good card draw, and I like the fact that we can play something for free after we cast it. 2 more random cards, could have put this in the other random pile. Expropriate was a card that I got to do a conversation with a user about a while back, and whether it would be good in this deck or not. While it doesn't have any immediate synergies with the Dragon, I think it's just such a powerful card that I think it can still really do some eye-opening things in this deck. If you're taking extra turns and already have the Dragon in play, that means you're attacking for a lot of damage and drawing a lot of cards and getting things into play for free. So like I said, it doesn't have immediate synergy with the Dragon, but I think it's so powerful on its own that I'm interested to see what it's going to do. Next up, Maelstrom Wanderer, very similar. You get to cascade twice. If you get really lucky, you're going to cascade into 2 dragons, and then they're all going to have haste, and you're going to be able to attack for a lot of power. So I'm interested to try that one out as well. And then finally, this column right here is the list of cards that I'm really interested in trying out. I'm going to call these the Cheaty Face cards, where all of these cards are aiming to cheat a dragon into play from, most of them are from our library, actually. So Dragonstorm, I've used it a little bit with this deck. If you even get 1 additional copy, that means you're paying 9 mana for 2 dragons, and that is a very good rate, and depending on which 2 dragons you get, you can really do a lot with that. Selvalis Stampede, another way to drop some dragons into play off of the Selvalis Stampede. See the Unwritten, same thing. Reveal the top 8 cards of your library. Put a creature into play. Should be really easy to get Ferocious. If we do, we get to put 2 creatures into play. So 6 mana for 2 creatures. Sounds like it should be pretty good. Tooth and Nail, obviously very good. I don't have any combos in this deck that immediately end the game, but if we do Tooth and Nail, we will be able to pound out huge amounts of damage and or do a number of other things with Bladewing the Risen, Ojutai, Soul of Winter. Scourge of Kor Ridges is really good for controlling the late game. So we have some interesting things that we can do with Tooth and Nail. Next up, we have Wild Pair. I'm interested to see how this one goes. Also, I can't remember if they fixed the Wild Pair bug on Magic Online. So if we play that at any point, we'll find out if it's actually working the way it's supposed to, or if it just casts every creature in your deck like I've seen it do in the past. And then finally, Lurking Predators. I'm a little on the fence that maybe we don't have enough creatures in this deck to really support Lurking Predators. We have 23 creatures, 21 of which are dragons. 2 non-dragons in Oracle of Moldiah and Maelstrom Wanderer. But at 23 creatures, it might be a little bit low for Lurking Predators, but I'm still interested in seeing if it's really going to play well with this deck or not. And then finally, we have our pile of dragons. 21 dragons in the deck. I'd prefer to have a little more, but when you're trying to jam all this other stuff in there, it really does eat up a lot of deck space. I also run 39 lands because I really want to make land drops with this deck. Anyway, so that's the deck. The main purpose of this deck is we're going to try to cheat things into play with Dragonstorm, Selvala Stampede, See the Unwritten, Tooth and Nail, Wild Pair, and or Lurking Predators. So let's go find a game and see how it goes. Also, I did condense these games down quite a bit, so you won't see every single play from the game. You'll see the ones that really have a lot of impact on how the game plays out. I was trying to get 2 games to fit into the normal runtime of 1 game, so like I said, they are condensed down pretty hard. But I will include timestamps in the description below if you want to skip around. Welcome back, everyone. Playing some Dragon, Cheaty Face Dragons. Taking a look at our opening hand, we have 2 lands. Oh man, we have all of our cool late game stuff, but no way to guarantee that we get to it. I think we got a mulligan that. There's 2 lands with a Sol Ring. Any card draw by any chance? Oh, that's also so risky. Any help from our opponents? Rakdos, Nicole Bolas, Krenko. Not so much. I think we got to go to 6. The problem is there's no colored mana in our hand. Haven only works for dragons, so I think we got him. Yeah, I think we got them all going to go down to 6. Yeah, okay, that's much better. That is actual lands. There's a Lightning Greaves. We'll keep that on top. Yeah, that 6 is going to be so much better than that 7. And that 7 will be just praying to catch lands, and if we don't play Magic. Or even if we catch the wrong color ones, we don't play Magic. Ashiok Nightmare Weaver coming down for the Nicole Bolas opponent. Looks like they exile some stuff from the Rakdos opponent. There's a mana confluence. That means we will be able to get our Kodama's Reach down on time, and that is awesome. So right now we have white in our hand, red in our hand. The red is covered. So will Kodama's Reach... There's... Ooh, that's a Perforos coming down for the Krenko opponent. That is a must-remove target. We will all be dead very quickly if no one deals with that Perforos. Fevered Visions for our opponent. At the beginning of each player's end step, that player draws a card. If that player is your opponent and has 4 or more cards in hand, deals 2 damage to that player. Sounds good. We'll get some extra card draw at the cost of some life. The life is going to be really precious with Krenko and Perforos. Krenko coming into play. Doesn't have haste yet, so that's good. Yeah, we still can't really do much, so play the Canopy Vista and pass the turn. Really need some of our card draw. There's a Wild Pair. That's something. Next turn we could go Wild Pair, leave up Swords to Plowshares. Rings of Brighthearth for our... Oh, boy. Oh, this is going to hurt. Do we eat the Fairy's Protection right here? I believe that we do. I'm going to wait to see if they use the Rings of Brighthearth. If they do, I think we eat the Fairy's Protection, because that is a lot of life loss. Yep. So opponent's going to get 4 goblins the first time, and then 8 goblins the second time. And that is a lot of life loss on that Perforos. So yeah, let's go ahead and use this Teferi's Protection. And then we'll hope that one of our other opponents has a board wipe. I mean, I have to imagine that Bolas has some board wipes in that deck. I don't know how you play Bolas that doesn't have some element of control to it. So there's got to be some board wipes in there. And they've been drawing a lot of cards with... Nope, they just scoop it up. Oh my god. Why does no one run removal? And then there's a whole lot of tokens coming into play. So Rakdos is all the way down to 6. Opponent's going to use their Nettle Drone. Yeah, they should not have discarded that Blasphemous Act. That was so incredibly dumb on their part. Yep, Disciple of Bolas is not going to do it. And, ugh. So Rakdos scoops it up. We're going to need... A board wipe would be the most ideal. There are very few of them in this deck. That's a Vivid Crag. So now we're going to need to find a way to survive. Krenko has 3 cards in hand. Swords to Plowshares, the Krenko. This will buy us maybe a turn. And pass the turn. As long as the opponent doesn't have anything huge in hand, should buy us a little bit of time. They do have 13 tokens, 14 tokens, so yeah, they can cut our life total in half. Krenko coming back to play. Yep, couple more triggers. Yep, opponent sending in a bunch of stuff. Left a couple back on defense. We go down to 13. So we could use a really big draw. Frontier Siege is not it. So we can get Balefire Dragon. Yes! Yes! So Scourge of Courageous. Also, we're going to find out if Wild Pair is still broken. So there's a Wild Pair trigger. Yes. Get our Balefire Dragon. Equip the Balefire Dragon. Play a tap land. Go to combat. Send in the Balefire Dragon. Oh, come on. Come on. Balefire Dragon gonna save us. Boom. So opponent gets hit with the Balefire Dragon. That's gonna kill all their creatures. 6 damage to each creature. We still have to be careful, though. Our life total is very low at 12. If opponent can find a way to cast 6 creatures, we still die to Perforos. We're going to need to kill our opponent very quickly, and we're going to want some lifelink if we can find it. Oh, man, that felt so good. I so rarely get to use Balefire Dragon's ability. It's just so rare for that to actually go off. Ringleader, huh? Reveal top 4 cards. Put all Goblin cards revealed into your hand. Okay, that's card draw. Hopefully they whiff. Okay, yeah, so they reveal the Goblin Matron. Now, that can find them the Goblin of their choosing. That's still problematic. That still doesn't give us a lot of time here. Ooh, that's a Beetleback Chieftain. So, we die next turn if we can't gain life or get rid of the Perforos. Oh, we need a huge draw right here. Dragon Lord Dramoka off the top. Selvala Stampede. That's something. Maybe not exactly what we wanted. Starting with you, each player votes for Wild or Free. Reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal Wild. You need to cast the card with Wild Pair. When a creature enters the battlefield, if you cast it from your hand... okay, so that's not going to work with Selvala Stampede. Play the Strip Mine. I mean, we just need to get super lucky with the Selvala Stampede is what needs to happen. So we need to vote Wild, because we need creatures. There's a Bladewing the Risen. That's not going to help us too much. There's a Frontier Siege, also not going to help us. Choosing... Cons, I guess. We already have ways to kill our opponent's creatures. Oh, yeah, we whiffed right there. That's a big whiff. I had thought about casting the Dragon, but it's kind of the same. If we cast the Dragon, we certainly can't win. We would have had 22 damage with the Dragon, and we wouldn't have been able to attack with whatever permanent that we put into play. So, also, there's no Wild Pair for the Dragon. So, yep, that's going to be all she wrote. So, Balefire Dragon's going to hit, and it's going to blow up all of opponent's stuff. We get some additional mana that we can't do anything with. The question I have is if I had played our Mana Confluence differently, if that would have bought us the extra turn or not that we needed. Next card, Crosenverge, no help there. Scalelord Reckoner, yep. Oh, Expropriate, that would have been the one. So that one life wouldn't have mattered. Opponent reveals their hand, they still had another Goblin in there. We had a mulligan down to 6, and our hand just got really awkward from there. We just had a lot of nothing going on, really. But Wild Pair worked pretty well. That got us that Balefire Dragon, and that was pretty sweet. So, Wild Pair definitely worth considering. And one thing you could do, you could run all of the 6/6 dragons from Planar Chaos and whatever the older version of the Planar Chaos dragons were. That is something I've thought about doing a little bit. That would be fun, just having all of the activated ability dragons and using Wild Pair, so every time you cast one of them, you get a second one. Sounds pretty cool. Dragon time! Trying to cheat some dragons into play. Let's take a look at our opening hand. We have a Cultivate and an Oracle of Moldiah. I really like that. We are 1 land short of that Cultivate, but with 39 lands, we should get there. So I'm going to go ahead and keep this. The Oketra opponent has a pretty good turn 1. They lay down a Mana Crypt, a Weathered Wayfarer, and Trailblazer's Boots. Now, the Weathered Wayfarer ability will be a little bit awkward since they are on the play, and means that someone's going to have to accelerate before they can actually use that Weathered Wayfarer. And the Scarab God is already conceded. Wonderful. So we've got a 3-player game now. Oketra the True coming into play. Collective Voyage for our opponent. Starting with you, each player may pay any amount of mana. Oh man, I F6 through their turn, so we're not going to be able to pay any mana because we didn't crack our fetch yet. Oh, that's frustrating. That will give us the mana that we need. We will get a Forest right here. So we'll get Tundra, we'll play the Swamp, play this Cultivate. Ooh, there are not a lot of basics in this deck. Probably need to add a couple more basics. I am not the best at building 5-color mana bases. So let's get a mountain. We have a blue. We have a swamp. We have a forest. We'll go for a mountain and a plains right here. Opponent's going to use their Weathered Wayfarer. We did accelerate, so now they're able to search for lands. Interesting thing about Weathered Wayfarer, it is any land. There are not a lot of cards in Magic that let you do that. Skull Clamp for the Oketra opponent. That's a very good card in the Oketra deck. Going to equip up the Weathered Wayfarer and draw some additional cards. Luxodon Warhammer for the Oketra opponent. Nice, so we draw a Crosenverge, which means I think I like the Oracle of Moldiah play right here. Play the Oracle of Moldiah. Our top card is Dragonstorm. Nice. So we'll lay down the Croson Verge, then lay down the Plains, and then we'll pass the turn. Gonna play and open the Armory. So it looks like opponent's playing a Voltron-based Oketra deck, given the 3 equipments that we see in play currently, and it is only turn 4. Plus this open the Armory. Ooh, they went to find a Helm of the Host? Ooh. Well, that's interesting. So K&T is going to trigger. We do not have any lands in hand, so we will get to draw. Nice. So we catch a land off the top. It's a Scalding Tarn. We'll play the Scalding Tarn. Then a Savannah right there, so we'll play that Savannah. Sweet. Then there's a Hellkite. Ooh. Hellkite Tyrant, you say. A Hellkite Tyrant will be really good with all the artifacts that Oketra is playing. So I think right here, I want to get this Teamer Ascendancy down. So I'm going to cast the Teamer Ascendancy. That's going to give our creatures haste, and if we play a dragon, we'll get to draw into this Hellkite Tyrant, which is something that I'm very much looking to do. And we do have the mana to get down this Scalelord Reckoner without cracking our fetch. Play the Scalelord Reckoner. So Teamer Ascendancy is going to trigger. We get to draw. So we draw into our Hellkite Tyrant. We've got another land on top. We'll send the Scalelord Reckoner into the K&T, and we'll send the Oracle of Moldiah into the Oketra. So opponents go down to 35 and 32, and we will pass the turn. There's a Martial Coup. X5 is going to destroy everything and get 5 soldiers. Oketra is now an attacker. Oketra coming our way. Yeah, it's going to hit. So we take 14 commander damage and go all the way down to 25. That was a huge hit, and that puts the Oketra opponent up to 49. Wow. Bounty of Luxa. Ooh, Rites of Flourishing. Nice. That'll help us with our land drops. Back to our turn, we get a Rites of Flourishing trigger. So we get to draw an additional card. We draw 2 lands, so we can play the lands. So let's play the Bayou. We have 2 basic lands, so we'll play the Cinderglade. Now we have some questions. So we do need to deal with Oketra, otherwise we're going to be in for a world of hurt. We can steal all of their equipments with this Hellkite Tyrant, but the problem is we still need to pay to equip them to our creature. So we'd have 5 mana left over to start equipping stuff, which actually is pretty good. The other thing we could do, we could Dragonstorm, and then we could use something like Ojutai and prevent Oketra from untapping, which sounds really good. What did I say? We have 10 mana. That's we would only be able to go X1 on the Dragonstorm. We'd only be able to get 1 copy on the Dragonstorm currently, which isn't the best. I'd really love to get 2. If we could get 2, then life is pretty good. I think the safest thing to do is Dragonstorm for Ojutai and keep Oketra tapped down. If we start using the Hellkite Tyrant, then I am worried that opponent will have more things to suit up onto the Oketra, and will still be in a very dangerous spot with all the damage that they can do. So let's play this Dragonstorm, see if there's anything else that might be relevant. We could play Dragonlord Silent Gar and just steal the Oketra. That wouldn't be the worst thing. We wouldn't be able to attack with it, though. Yeah, I think I like Ojutai Soul of Winter right here. So, Teamer Ascendancy triggers, we get to draw a card. Yes, please. Ooh, that's an Expropriate. Nice. We will attack the Oketra opponent, get an Ojutai trigger, and we will tap down the Oketra. It will not untap during its next untap step. So, that felt like the safest thing to do. Ooh, Ojutai also has Vigilance. I didn't know that when I cast it, but that is also a very helpful thing against all those tokens. So, opponent goes down to 44. More importantly, we tap out their Oketra for a turn. And I have plans of just keeping that Oketra very, very tapped. Another Mana Crypt trigger for the Oketra opponent. So, ooh, Swiftfoot Boots on the Oketra, which means that we'll need to steal their equipments before we can continue to tap it down. Yee. And opponent's going to return to dust. Ooh, the Teamer Ascendancy and opponent's Rites of Flourishing. That hurts. I was planning to make good use of that Teamer Ascendancy on this turn. And opponent's going to lay down the Helm of the Host. Opponent's going to sack a token to the Skull Clamp and draw some cards. Kineos and Tiro of Meletus coming back into play. We draw an island. We will play the island. We have 12 mana total available to us. Expropriate is 9. I think Expropriate is probably the best thing we can do right here. No matter how they choose, we'll either get additional turns or we will steal this Oketra. And that should be a real big problem for our opponent. So we'll crack the Scalding Tarn. We'll cast Expropriate. So cast Expropriate. See what opponents do. I'm going to choose time. Opponents might choose money. I've heard that choosing money is the correct thing to do. I haven't run into Expropriate enough times to verify that. It's also less good in a 3-player game versus a 4-player game. Ooh, so you can only gain control of something that the opponent who chooses controls. I did not realize that. Yeah, steal the Oketra for sure. What a broken card. Expropriate. We will go to combat. I think I'm going to start attacking K and T right here. For the simple reason is, one, we already we control Oketra's commander, which they're going to have to do some work to get back. I think we slam a bunch of dragons this turn. Let's get Dragon Lord Kolaghan down. That'll give all of our stuff haste. And then I think it's time for the Dragon. So, unfortunately, the Dragon makes itself cost 1 less, which it's not supposed to do. We will tap out the appropriate amount of mana. And we need to actually tap 1 more to truly cast it, so we'll do that right here. Then we will go to combat. Send everything at the Oketra. We get a whole bunch of triggers. So Ojutai is going to tap everything out. Oops, we accidentally tapped the same token twice with Ojutai. Whoopsie. We do get to draw. Ooh, we draw a bunch. We get to put a permanent into play. We'll make that the Hellkite Tyrant. Won't be able to attack this turn, unfortunately, but... Uh-oh, K&T's tapping mana. Oh, constant mists. Oh, that's going to be so hard for us to deal with. Did they do it with buyback? No, they sent it to the graveyard, so... Wonder if it's a Turbo Fog K&T deck. I mean, if I was K&T, I would have paid the buyback cost on there, sacrificing a land. If they just kept sacrificing lands, I don't actually know how we get through. I don't think that this deck really has the tool to fight through something like that. So all of our damage fizzles. In the meantime, we'll play this Reflecting Pool and play the Sol Ring. Then we will pass the turn. There's a Pure Steel Paladin. So they definitely have Metalcraft. They'll be able to suit up that Pure Steel Paladin pretty easily. Gonna draw some cards. Ooh, a lot of free card draw with that Skull Clamp. That is a thing. Opponent says someone's digging for a Wrath. Ooh, so opponent lays down an Elesh Norn and gonna equip up the Swiftfoot Boots and the Trailblazer Boots on there. And the Luxodon Warhammer. I mean, this thing could come in for some damage. Ooh, and a Helm of the Host. Oh, there's a Helm of the Host on there. That seems bad. That seems really bad. I know what we gotta do. Turn off all auto yields. That Elesh Norn is a great place to use this Swords to Plowshares. Odric Lunarch Marshal. Oh, let's think about that for a second. So let it resolve. That means that all of the creatures will have haste. Okay, so opponent's going to combat. Yeah, now... Oh, it's got hexproof. No. No. Oh, God. Well, that was bad. Let us see. Swords to Plowshares worth it on the Odric Lunarch Marshal. Yeah, I think it's still worth it. Opponent is going to get a second copy of Elesh Norn, though, and that seems really good. So our dragons are now very, very small, and... Ah, crap, all the creatures still have haste. There are 2 Elesh Norns with haste, so we are going to have to block. How much damage is coming in? This is the most amount of non-trample damage that we can block. And we're still at -1. I guess we needed to block 1 more. Oh, they all have trample. Right. Wow, that was rough. So, multiple Elesh Norns off of a Helm of the Host. Man, we really needed to Swords of Plowshares that Elesh Norn before it got all equipped up. I fell asleep at the wheel right there. That is what happens when I come back from vacation. I am rusty at Magic. Ugh. Gonna equip the Inquisitor's Flail to the Oketra. Gonna move the Warhammer over to the Oketra. And the Trailblazer Boots over to the Oketra. And K&T just scoops it up. So, Oketra getting there. How about that? Yeah, totally misplayed with the Swiftfoot Boots. That was all very unfortunate. So, doing a quick review of some of the new cards that we tested out. After running it a few times, I found that Dragonstorm is a little bit slow. One of the big problems is when you get to the point of the game where you want to cast Dragonstorm, you don't have anything in your hand that's 1 or 2 mana to really easily get your storm count up. You're stuck with a bunch of dragons that are 5 and 6 mana, and it's just really difficult to have enough mana to make good use of Dragonstorm. You really want to get at least 2 dragons out with it. Getting 1 dragon out with it is not really the best, but Tooth and Nail does the same thing much more efficiently. You get 2 dragons into play for less mana and less work. So I've decided to go with Tooth and Nail over Dragonstorm in that slot. And the other one is Lurking Predators. I decided to cut that one. There just aren't enough creatures in the deck. If it was a 30 or 40 creature deck, I think it would be worth it. Also, if we're running things like Divining Top, which we aren't, So just based on the way that this deck is constructed currently, I don't think Lurking Predators is the best fit. So I cut those cards, and I've slowly started adding removal back into the deck so that we're better prepared for things like Krenko and things like Oketra, like we saw in those few games. A few other thoughts. I was really happy with the way that Wild Pear played, and that's something I'd like to explore a bit more. So yeah, Wild Pear I thought was really, really good. I'm not completely sold on Selvalis Stampede yet. I've resolved it a couple times, and it seems to be hit and miss. So I really just need to get more playtesting in with that one. We'll see how it goes. Also, Expropriate was really, really good. We didn't cast it in the best spot, and our opponent was able to come back with the really big play on their turn, which we had an answer for, but we kind of punted when we had the opportunity to do so. But Expropriate also seemed to play really, really well, because even though we were a little bit behind in that spot, it did help us get to a place where we were ahead temporarily. So I think that's another one worth considering. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Stay tuned for games 3 and 4 of this series, and as always, feel free to comment, like, or subscribe. Thank you for watching.